I bolted out of Granny's house, my heart racing in my chest. The image of her monstrous face burned into my mind. The wind stung my face as I ran, fear coursing through my veins. But something gnawed at me. Was that really Granny? The terror I felt was undeniable, but it didn't add up. I made it home, locked every door, and sat in the corner of my room, hugging my bed. Was it all real? My mind spun. I couldn't sleep. The way her face morphed back to normal so suddenly, like flicking a switch. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that twisted face. But behind the fear, why had the bloodstains splattered all around her house? Whose blood was that? And as my thoughts wandered in fear, I finally dozed off. Just before dawn, I was jolted awake by a gentle shake. My mother was beside me, still in her nurse's uniform, her face lined with exhaustion after a long night shift. "Lucy, you fell asleep out here," she murmured, glancing around my room, probably wondering why I'd been sitting in the corner all night. My words tumbled out in a rush. "Mom, I have to tell you something. I went to Granny's house last night. I think she's hiding something. I saw her face, it changed. It was terrifying. And there was blood." But she put a hand on my shoulder, smiling softly. "Lucy, it's okay. You just had a bad dream, honey. After everything with Mary, I know how scared you must feel. It makes sense you'd have nightmares." "No, Mom, it wasn't a dream. I was there. I saw things, horrible things," I insisted, trying to make her see the panic in my eyes. She sighed, shaking her head gently.
"Sweetheart, you've been through a lot, and sometimes our minds play tricks on us. I'm here now, and nothing bad is going to happen. I promise."
Her words were meant to comfort me, but they only left me feeling more frustrated, more alone. I tried to explain again, but she gave me that same weary look, like she knew better. Eventually, I nodded, pretending to accept her version of the truth. But I knew what I'd seen, and as she turned to go, something inside me hardened. I couldn't rely on anyone else. If I was going to get to the bottom of this, I'd have to do it on my own. When Mom left for work, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I decided to confront Granny to get answers. But when I arrived at her house, she wasn't there. Instead, I found Nanny Cindy dusting the windowsills. She didn't notice me at first, and I stood there, watching her for a moment. Something about the way she moved felt off. Too calm, too precise, almost strange. Her usual warmth and laughter were gone, replaced by a cold, detached look. "Cindy," I called softly. She spun around, startled, her face instantly plastered with a fake smile.
"Oh, Lucy, you scared me. What are you doing here?" I forced a smile. "I wanted to check on Granny. She seemed off last night." Her smile wavered. "Granny's resting. Why don't you come back later?"
Something was definitely wrong. My gut told me not to leave. "Maybe I can see her now. I'll be quick." "No," Cindy snapped, her voice sharp. I froze, taken aback by her sudden anger. She quickly recovered, smiling again, but it didn't reach her eyes. Reluctantly, I left, but as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that Cindy was hiding something. Later that night, I made up my mind. I had to sneak back in. There was more going on here than I understood, and if Cindy was involved, I needed proof. At midnight, I returned to Granny's house. The air was thick with tension as I approached the back door, the same one I had used before. This time, I brought a flashlight and a knife I'd taken from the kitchen, just in case. As I slipped inside, the house was dark and quiet, but that smell, the metallic scent of blood, was back. My stomach turned. The place felt different, like the walls were closing in around me. I moved slowly, careful not to make a sound. I heard muffled voices coming from the basement. Cindy and Matthew. I crouched low, creeping closer. Their voices grew clearer as I approached the door leading downstairs.
"Lucy's getting too close. We need to stop her. Matthew, she's suspicious."
Cindy whispered harshly. My heart stopped. They were talking about me. Matthew's voice was calm, cold.
"Relax. She's just a kid. We'll deal with her if we need to. But for now, keep playing it cool. We've gotten away with it this long. Make sure you keep an eye on the freezers. Nothing, I repeat, nothing should happen to them."
My blood ran cold. The freezer, I had heard enough. I slowly backed away from the door, but as I did, my foot brushed against something, a loose floorboard. The creak echoed through the house. Running blindly through the house, I stumbled down a hallway, my heart beating fast. I had to find a way out. I pushed open a door and found myself in a small, dimly lit room. And then I saw the freezer. It was massive, almost industrial-sized, tucked away in the corner like a dark secret. My hands trembled as I lifted the lid. What I saw inside made me gag. Body parts, arms, legs, even a child's shoe frozen and stacked inside.
Watch out for part 4. Please like and subscribe.